I've had this bike a little while now. It's currently got 6 hours on the clock, and one of the things that I'm impressed about with KTM is the fact that they've kept on. You know, they've stayed on that train of development and just carried on with developing the two strokes, which for me is, you know, that gets a massive thumbs up and massive respect for that. The bike itself this year, 2019 over to 2018, it is a different bike. It feels completely different. Not so much in the power, there is a little bit of difference, but it's just the chassis, the suspension, the feel of the bike. The bike just rides so much different, and it just allows you just to manoeuvre it on the bike a lot more, and certainly put the bike in different positions on the track, and it just gives you more line choice, which is what you want from a two-stroke, definitely. I mean, you've got more line choice anyway riding a two-stroke, because it's one of those bikes that's easier to manoeuvre and to put into positions, but now even more so with the new chassis that KTM have produced for 2019. The linkage is different as well, and the swinging arm's different. And overall I'm really impressed with the bike. As you can see, it's pretty much in standard form. I've done a few little tweaks to it. We've got aftermarket exhaust on it at the moment. We've also got some Boyesen reeds as well, which is pretty good. One of the things that I'd like to try on the bike is the gearing, and you do find yourself in sometimes in the wrong gear. And I know quite a few people who've got the 19 model, and they've also said the same, and they've been a little bit confused of which way to go towards with the gearing. You know, they've gone a little bit smaller on the sprocket to try and stretch out second, whereas personally I think that I'd like to go a little bit bigger on the rear sprocket. So I bring third gear into play earlier and just let it to have more drive, because, you know, for me the second gear you don't really use too much, and especially in the standard form what happens is you know, the bike signs off a little bit early up on the top. It signs off a little bit more than what I'd like it to anyway. And I think even if you took two teeth off the rear sprocket, you know, you still wouldn't manage to get that second gear to stretch out as much as that you'd quite like it. So that's why I'd be inclined to try, you know, to try a bigger rear sprocket and leave it in third. So it, you know, because we know that gear ratio is a lot longer and it'll be able to stretch out a lot further. A bigger rear sprocket. You know, it changes the RPMs when you're coming into the turn. Especially in third, so it's a little bit higher up in the rev range, which is a little bit nicer, you know, so it just gives you that instant on the pipe feel. So at the moment we've been pipe testing. We've been doing quite a lot of pipe testing with DEP, and he's come up with a really good pipe at the moment. We've tried quite a few, to be honest, and most of them have all been good, but there's a few which are quite exceptional. And obviously the key to this engine that we feel is basically just allowing the bike to have that little bit more horsepower up on top, because that's where we feel it lacks. You know, when you're shifting the power up on the top, you really don't want to be losing any power at the bottom or losing the drivability that this bike's known for and that it has. Driving out of the turn's nice. So with DEP's new 2019 pipe, what's happened is that the power curve now is a lot more progressive, all the way from off the bottom, all the way through, and it stretches out the RPMs, and also as well it stretches out the horsepower, so the horsepower it's up. Also in the 250 we've got some Boyesen reeds. We tried these on the 150 and we've seen some really good gains, so we'd also tried them on the 250 as well, and we're happy to say that we've got the same benefits. Throttle connection's a little bit more improved, the snap's just a little bit more there, and also as well it seems that you've got more power. The benefits that we've seen from the Boyesen reeds, what we can say is they're definitely worth it, you know, and that's a good value for money. We haven't rejected the bike fully yet because we put it back to standard form, you know, then we replaced the reeds and we've been pipe testing, and now we're going to, you know, really try and get the bike really dialed in with the jetting. Yeah, we've really seen some good benefits with no engine problems, you know, the bike hasn't been detonating, which is great. So, you know, at the moment there's definitely some room for adjustment, and we'll keep you posted.